Good afternoon. I have Mitchell Fink with us today. Mitch, thanks for coming on and giving some of us your experience in terms of the PR world.
Thanks, Jason. Happy to be here.
So I know you wear many hats, and we're definitely going to get to some of the other stuff that you do. But in terms of the white collar crime that I focus on, what are some of the things that you do when, say, a CEO kind of gets charged with something of white collar crime? It could be a fraud situation. What are the things that you do to advise that particular person to deal with the crisis control and how to deal with the PR and the media?
Well, that's classic crisis management. If someone has been charged and they want active PR, you have to figure out a way to create new stories about that person, a new narrative that will somehow alter or change in some way the Google paradigm, because those stories appear high because it's breaking news. But the next breaking news story, if it turns out to be a better story on that particular person, that will be the highest story. So it's a matter of pumping out a lot of material that will help the cause of the person who's getting raked over.
Now, I mean, it seems like you're also drawing a lot of your experience in terms of being a reporter yourself with the New York Times and a bunch of different places, that not only do you know how to kind of help people with these situations, but you used to be on the other side writing articles.
Yes, and not for the New York Times. I mean, if the New York Times called me today, I'd stop what I was doing and I'd run, but to them. I think they're the greatest. But I was with the New York Daily News, People magazine, and a now defunct paper in Los Angeles called the Los Angeles Herald Examiner. And for years, I did television too for, networks that the all major networks. And but it was the newspaper business that really gave me my start. And but not the New York Times.
So I got another question, Mitch. So say if it's the corporation, because the corporations also can get charged, even though they can't go to jail, but they can certainly get charged. And obviously the brand is important. How do you start putting out information that maybe it's one particular actor and it's not the brand as a whole to kind of deal with that whole crisis? Obviously, that's something that's very important to continuing the brand. What are some of the things that you go through to kind of advise companies to move in the right direction?
Again, it's a matter of finding those hooks that can create a story that's going to change things in the media. That we can go to various media outlets to say, hey, wait a second, before you do X, Y, and Z and rake this person across the coals, you need to consider this, you need to consider that. It may be in the same story, it may be to balance a story. And so it's not so one-sided. But, the dirty little secret in the media is that the more access the media gets, the more possibility of being slanted in that direction.
Oh, I see.
So if a corporation that's been charged decides to clam up and not really do anything beyond a statement, they're going to get killed in the media.
Oh.
The more out front they are, the easier it is. I can give you a great example.
Please.
At People magazine did a cover story on Sharon Stone, who I understand has a new book coming out. And people tried to get interviews with her. She would not allow herself to do an interview. Her PR people, no interviews with Sharon. So people did what is called a write-around. They didn't have her quotes, but they had everybody else talking about it. And the story came out. It was a cover story. And I saw Sharon Stone at some event after the magazine came out. And she said to me, "Why was it so one-sided?" I said, "It's very simple. You didn't participate. If you would have participated, it would have been a completely different story."
I see. So
And that's
right.
so, I mean, there are classic cases in my background of, I mean, everybody knows who Steve Madden is, the shoe designer.
Oh yeah, of course.
Very popular shoe brand. I mean, he was in jail for a number of years, and he got out of jail, and along with an associate of mine in Los Angeles by the name of Jim Yeager, we crafted a story, did a story, and got Newsweek, which was much bigger back then in 2006, to do a story on Madden after he came out of jail, the lowest point in his life and career. And this story in Newsweek was essentially that he's back. And it changed everything for him, right. Everything. Right. It created this new persona of a guy who's paid his dues, paid his debt to society, and now he's coming back stronger than ever. And the truth is, before this pandemic, this company couldn't be stopped. And in the last 10 years, they have grown tremendously. I mean, the pandemic has killed a lot of retail. He's surviving, but surviving quite nicely, actually. But those are the stories that change, the track that someone is on.
So it seems like they need to certainly get out there early and engage your services early. But I did want to touch upon that's not the only hat that you wear. Now, I know we talked about books a little bit earlier with Sharon Stone, but you help a lot of people publish books.
I do. First of all, my own, I'm a New York Times best-selling author. My wife and I did a book called Never Forget, an oral history of September 11, 2001, which was a New York Times bestseller. And I've had other books published. But lately, I've written a novel that I'm trying to get published, and I have been really, during the pandemic is when it started. I've started editing books and shaping books for others, and I'm just finishing my third one, and it's a fantastic kind of niche for me because I know how to do it, and I'm helping others, which is wonderful.
So you're engaging authors pretty early to kind of help them through the writing process, it sounds like?
Yes. Through the writing process, writing, editing, publishing, and PR. So initially, it's to really, everybody thinks they have a book in them. And in fact, everybody doesn't have a book in them. But some people do. Okay. Some people do. And they're really good books. And they really, really know how to write. Some people have to be really helped with writing. Others can just write the pants off anything. And but to edit a book and to structure it properly so the reader will be interested throughout is a skill set, and I know how to do that.
Right. Now, finally, Mitch, not only do you deal with negative PR, but your firm actually helps people with positive PR, how to get out stuff before and really get information out there for the benefit of companies.
Most people that hire us are looking for visibility.
Right.
One-on-one public relations is the name of our company, and we're on both coasts. And they're looking for visibility in the media. So we're trying to create pitches to the media that will get them off their fannies to say, yeah, I want to do a story on this. And here's one of the other secrets of what goes on. And that is today, because so many media, and I do believe in mainstream media first, because I think it's a top-down that, television gets what they get from the print media. Anytime you see the words breaking news on CNN, it usually is a New York Times or Washington Post or New Yorker or Wall Street Journal or any, it comes from some other place.
Right.
And television just grabs it because that's where they're getting their information for the most part. I mean, CNN certainly does their own reporting too. But one of the dirty little secrets is that reporters at big name publications, used to be, 500 people doing 500 jobs. And today, it's probably, 212 people doing the same 500 jobs.
Oh, my goodness.
So reporters are working on many stories simultaneously. Why are they going to do my story and not someone else's story? And the answer to that is the easier I make it for them. The more information that I can provide, the more, with phone numbers, you name it, so they don't have to do any heavy lifting. Once there is a degree of heavy lifting, you can get aced out unless it's a breaking news story.
Well, Mitch, I really appreciate your time. Next time when there's something that's big in the news, I'd love to have you back to do a case study so we can kind of diagnose it and break it down together.
Happy to do it, Jason. Thank you very much.
You too. Take care.